Erica with DCL Dorks. Today I have Stephanie West with me, and we are going to be discussing how she is a travel agent and how she has gone on her very first Disney cruise. So everybody, welcome Stephanie for today. Woohoo! So Stephanie and I have befriended each other over our lives over at Instagram, and it has been like it's Disney magic that has brought us together, absolutely. And so I'm so glad we've talked about doing this forever, and I'm so glad that she's agreed to join us today. So tell everybody about you and what you're doing, and then how you started as a travel agent.
All right. Golly. Let's see. All right. So I was born. No, I'm just kidding. No, really,
It was a
really.
dark and stormy night.
Actually, I don't know, but I was born in Bremerton, Washington. I am a prior service member and prior Navy, and I've always loved the ocean. That's what drew me to picking that path, as far as what service I was going to join. And I wanted to do it partly to serve, partly to travel, and partly to get money for school. And I loved it. I'm a big Top Gun fan. I love aircraft, and I am the one who went out there with, if you guys can remember, Discmen. Like right after you had, your Walkmans.
Yes.
It was like you have a Discman, right? So that thing fit perfectly in the back pocket of my coveralls. I would tuck the headphones underneath what we called Mickey Mouse ears, the giant headphones, and we would have flight operations going on with the helos, and they're a kind of jet. And, I would just stand out there shining brass listening to Top Gun. So I've always liked being at sea. That's the nerd in me. I was like, I'm living my best life. So I really loved it. And I didn't actually realize how much I missed being on the ocean until I got to go back out. As far as becoming a travel agent, it was not something I planned on. I have a master's in international relations and conflict resolution, with some other stuff after that, but it's lengthy. And the focus has always been to just try to be in a position, whether it was government or an agency or nonprofit or something, where I could travel and meet new people and just build relationships and help foster relationships. That's what I really wanted. I actually interned with the Department of State at one point, and I just was like, this is my life. I want this so much. And things change in life and things happen. And it was just not a path that I could take. But in being home with kids and trying to find a new path for myself, I needed something that was flexible. And being that I am a firm believer that traveling is one of the best things you can do for yourself. It's the best education. It emboldens you. It's just, and it leaves you in awe. There's so many places I've been to that I've just been like, wow. Whether that's Dubai on a military ship or standing on Omaha Beach in Normandy. And Pont du Lac, I think, is better personally, just for views. It's incredible. But, or just some of the random things. I think it's actually more about the small things. Walking down a street and hearing the different cafes, hearing people talking, the different smells that you have, and that you experience. I think that's those nuances that people don't think about. That's what really immerses you. And that is something that Disney does amazing. So, back when I was just about to start high school, Disney Cruise Line started, and I was like, this is everything. This is everything. I get to escape on the ocean with my favorite company in the whole world. And Disney was my escape as a kid. There was a lot of violence in my home, so I had memorized Disney movies, and I would lay in my room and listen to and like play them in my mind. So Disney for me is like a safety blanket almost in that respect. And it's always been there, even though it didn't know that. It's always been there for me. So being able to escape on a ship like that and being able to see what it's like. I mean, I remember watching the TV specials about the detailing that's on these ships. It was just, wow. So just my love of travel and how firmly I believe in it, and my love of Disney, I finally was like, okay, this might be an idea. Specifically because a group of people that I know, have an agency, and agents are either going to have their own agency, or more often than not, they're hosted by another agency. So think of me as an independent contractor that has my own LLC underneath the umbrella of somebody else. Very sweet, amazing people. And I'm so lucky because they're incredibly supportive. They're great leaders, like they're mentorship leaders. They're not just like, here, be a part of the company. They mentor you. They're there to help foster your growth. And it's incredible. So I talked to my husband. I said, they're, bringing agents in, to be a travel agent. This is what we could do. This is how much it would cost. I know there'd be benefits and discounts for us as a family. We want to give the children these educational experiences, these eye-opening, jaw-dropping moments around the world. And we saw this as both a way for me to find a career path and establish a career path, but also one that would serve the family as a whole in a different way. So 3 years ago, I signed up and did all the trainings. And I think Disney cruising was like the easiest one to go through, because I was like, I know all this. I've been watching vlogs for like 10, 15 years. I know all this. So I entered being an agent, just being someone who already liked to watch a lot of Disney vlogs, parks, cruising. And so then it got to where I was helping clients and helping other people make these memories. And my whole goal as an agent is to make it so that someone gets to go on their vacation feeling as little stress as possible, because they're comfortable. They know what they're going to do. They know what they're going to experience, and they're excited, and they get to live in those moments versus going, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Like, I don't want that for them. I want you to be able to go and just experience and not have to stress about what you need to do next.
Yeah.
And so being able to do that for people, being able to share with people, and help people create these moments and share these experiences, with family or even by themselves is so wonderful, and it means everything to me. Like, I've logged into people's My Disney Experience apps to help them book lightning lanes. Like, that is not something I get paid for, but
Do
I'm
that
like,
with me.
here, you're trying to. Yeah, I did, but I also did it. Like, I had someone who traveled with twins that were 3 and a 7-year-old, and I'm like, let me help you out, because I'm thinking, no. But it's just, wonderful to do that, and I love helping people, but it's really wonderful to actually experience things that you know so well, and experience the things that you're helping other people experience. You can go through all the training in the world, you can watch all the vlogs in the world, and trust me, you'll learn a lot. And it's one of the best ways you can educate yourself. You're not going to have the backup in case like flights get canceled or things like that. You're not going to have that backup person to help you take care of things. But it's really nice being able to know how to do these things, but being able to finally experience it for myself as an agent, but also just fulfill a 25-year-old dream. It was a big deal.
Well, I
As I get all emotional again about it.
I think what's really great too is that you're taking something and inviting people to be a part of your passion. While you're not traveling with them, but you're sharing your passion with them, and they're interested in where all these places that they're wanting to go, and you're passionate about it, which makes them, I would imagine, more excited about the trip and more confident going wherever it is that they're going. And so it's kind of it's that I think that part of that sharing for you is always fun for me as your friend to listen to, and to watch you talk about, because I think that's just amazing. It's more
Thank
like
you.
it's like a task for you. It's a joy
Yeah,
for you.
no. It really is. And I will admit, I have the luxury, the flexibility of being able to do something that I'm more passionate about. There's a lot of people who don't have that opportunity. Um, and there's a lot of people who don't have the kind of support that I have from my husband. I actually prefer the word partner, just because I think growing up, there's this, totally a sidebar, but I think that great growing up, there's this mandated, a husband should be this and a wife should be this, but we are so connected as partners and as best friends, which is not something I've really seen.
Yeah.
So having this person who is so incredibly supportive of all my dreams and all my career ambitions has been absolutely amazing. And I don't know if you're going to share it before or after this, but he came in and talked about some of his favorite moments. And it's no joke when he says it was about watching our reactions. And he even argued that it was mine just as much as Lorelai's, if not more, because of how long I wanted to do this. He was like, I'm going to vlog. Like that whole first day, he's like, we'll make people suffer for it if we have to, because, and he didn't. I ended up vlogging a lot of it, but there is a lot of stuff that he caught because he kept saying one of his favorite things that he was looking forward to is he wanted to see my reaction. He wanted to see me live out these experiences. And that is a blessing. That
Yeah.
kind of person in your life is everything.
Yeah. So you finally got to go.
Finally got to go. I only cried 5 times, I think.
That, for the trip or during the trip or after?
during like there were definitely some moments where I was listening to music or something, and it would kind of hit me that I was going to get to go and that I was going to finally get to experience these things, and I was going to get to see our 4-year-old experience characters because they're still so in the magic when it comes to characters. So there was some moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to get to it. But no, I definitely I cried as we drove into the port, and I was trying really hard not to because I was like, you have to think about like the luggage and getting your paperwork out, and you can go through security. And then we're going up the escalator, and I'm like, again, and then we're going underneath the Mickey ears, and I'm trying really hard, and you can tell I started to glisten, but it really hit me when I was finally walking into the ship. I made a point to touch. I was like, I have to touch you. Like, you're here, right? I'm here, right? But that was also just a thing maritime for me, when I would come on the ship that was sailing us around and that we were doing deployments with. For me, it was like this, thank you for carrying me safely home. So it was partially that, but then I got on board, and they announce you, and I was both feeling awkward and overjoyed at the same time. And then Lorelai was her favorite character, Minnie, was the one who happened to be out. So seeing Lorelai was and I kept holding it back, my eyes would start to well up, and I kept holding it back. But driving up to the pier or driving up to the port was the first time it I had to really pull back and go okay, stop. But then after that, I lost it. Aaron and I were sitting downstairs after we booked Paolo, and I was looking around, where'd Aaron go? Where'd Aaron go? And Aaron was just bawling. And so I sat down and I was like, you can't cry. No, this you can't. They're like, we're here. We've been talking about it for so long. I'm like, I know. And then it was the first time I really started to cry. But then that countdown and the horns when you finally sail away, and I was done. I was like, I'm out, and I'm gonna give up.
So I guess it's safe to say that it lived up to its hype. But in what way? Because you've had this wealth of knowledge. It's kind of like that part from Good Will Hunting where he talks, where Robin Williams is talking to Matt Damon's character about, okay, yeah, who wrote all these paintings, or who wrote all these books, who all the artists, but do you know what it's like to stand in the Louvre and smell it? And
yes,
so yes, you do. But so for taking that example, how was that for you? What was surprising for you? What did anything not live up to the hype? All the fun things, wherever you want to start.
Well, the ship smells amazing.
Oh my
Um,
god, it does.
people talk about it. They always talk about how the resorts smell good, but you're like, gosh, I want to bottle this and take it home.
Fairy tales.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. She's one of the sweetest humans. Yes, definitely. She has a whole bunch of. She's even as a castaway scent. It works.
It'll be in the notes. It'll be in the notes.
In the notes, yeah, for fandoms and fairy tales, she's just the best. So I wrote down a couple of things because I was thinking about this from dreams and hopes. It lived up to all the things I was hoping for, because I was looking forward to Sorry, kids are in the background. I was looking forward to just all the characters. You always see and hear just how much the characters are out, and it's hard to get a sense of that in vlogs because people edit,
Yeah.
and I don't blame them. But being able to see that in person and just it's like a constant rotation almost of people in the atrium. You're like, oh wow, they really are like all the time, and the lines, they're nothing like you're going to see at the parks. So that was amazing. And being able to have my kids have those reactions, even my teenager who is in the too cool for school kind of camp, that was really great, and that totally lived up to my hopes and my expectations for like me as a person. The views, the staterooms, because I was so excited for the bunk beds that fold down for kids.
Right.
What's that?
You were on the fantasy, right?
We were on the fantasy. Yes, sorry. We were on the fantasy for a seven night Western Caribbean very Merry Christmas time cruise. So very beautifully decorated with all the garlands, the tree lights up. It was stunning. So it definitely gave all the feels. It was just beautiful and perfect. So all of that lived up to expectations. My hopes of being able to just sit out with coffee on the veranda and enjoy the views and what that was going to feel like. All that stuff really lived up. Everything that I was expecting and hoping for was pretty much on point. There were some times with food that we were a little kind of surprised. We're like, oh, we've heard that food was amazing, but there were a couple times when we were like, that was okay. Only a couple.
Dishes kind of that stuck out there were like, eh.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, well, it was okay. There was all this hype, but it was okay. But it only happened a couple of times. Most of the time, it was really great, and of course, service. I expected a lot because I have felt Disney service on both sides, like both for my clients, but also for myself. And I know what Disney service can be. And I know that everyone raves about Disney service on a ship when you're doing dining. Feeling that one was more than I actually anticipated. I was like, okay, it's supposed to be really great. But then actually living in those moments, I was like, oh my gosh, this person's amazing. Like, you are so sweet. Can I keep in touch with you as a human? Because how are you doing? Like, going back and editing vlogs, I'm like, oh, I miss Miss Cherie. She was just the sweetest person. So that was something that actually went above what my expectations were, especially for things also. Paolo stayed right on bar just because I knew so much of it, but it was really nice to experience it myself. Remy, that was a whole other world. If I had to pick something that I think the adult areas and the shows and the things that they do for adults, that was a pleasant increase to my expectations.
Really?
I knew that they did kid stuff, or I knew that they did adult stuff, adult only stuff, but I didn't know that it would kind of get adult.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is good. So it's, no, you're not beat over the head with Disney all day. I mean, yeah, you're on a Disney ship, but it's not like the music's really loud. It's very beautiful and it's very soft and subtle and it's instrumental. So it's not like animation bonking you all the time. But I think even though I knew that once you got into those adult spaces, it was going to be separate, going into the adult lounges and really seeing that it's not just that it's separate, they really do amp up the kind of content that's in there that they share. Not super inappropriate, but
right.
There were some interesting things. And that really helps make you feel like you are separated from the family element of the vacation.
And I think that's what's interesting too about Disney cruising is they're one of the only cruises that don't have casinos. And
yes.
And a drink package.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to a different audience,
yeah.
So you can have your family time, but you're not going to be there. It's still about the conversations. It's still about the interaction. It's not about puking on the side of the boat and, just making sure you get your 15 drinks in a day and losing your port money so you can't get home, kind of thing.
Yeah, no. I mean, they do have some things there. They have wine packages. So you can purchase like bottles of wine. It's not something we decided to partake in just because we decided to opt for doing the beer mug.
Yeah.
And we honestly, like, I like to try different kinds of cocktails. So I love beer too, but I wanted to be able to try different things. So that's the kind of route we went with that. But it was nice to see that, you can purchase bundles of wine if you want to, but it wasn't our preference, but it's there as an option.
Yeah.
So, as an agent though, I did make note of some things that, um, I guess it's all positive. Like there was nothing that I ever experienced. I was like, oh, as an agent, that kind of bums me out for my clients or
Oh,
anything. Like I actually didn't have anything like that. Um, the service is all phenomenal. Your stateroom host is phenomenal. He's so sweet. Like he noticed that the face bar was missing out of my bathroom. So that night when he did turn down service, he left four more in there. And that was because you were like, well, we're taking this one home. We're not going to use it. So he left four more in there. So what's been in my shower every day since? So there I am in the shower just going, if I close my eyes and imagine really hard. um, but yeah, I'll miss H2O products when they finally go. But yeah, so things I wrote down. So one of the things I didn't know that was interesting. So as an agent, I knew that when you go to Remy, you can let the clubs know, so that your kids are there longer, or any of the things like that, so they know where you're at, kind of a thing. I didn't actually know that the actual manager host of Remy will block communications, like your communication, like through your Navigator app, like for your kids club is blocked, and he serves as a gateway. So if there's anything going on down in kids clubs and you have kiddos in there, this person acts as a gateway, the manager at Remy, to make sure that unless it's like, okay, a parent really needs to address this because it's a bigger concern, they won't bug you. They protect your time. They help you protect your time. I am
oh,
all about parents getting breaks. It's one of my favorite things to tell people about
yeah.
these cruises. You get your togetherness as a family, but
Yeah.
then you have all this time too when the kids are like, leave me alone. I want to go to kids clubs, and you can. And the adults are like, well, let's go adults somewhere. Um,
You can
and
reconnect as a family and as a couple.
Right. And it's just it's nice because if you're a family that can really only do one vacation a year or one every 2 years or something like that, and you're really trying to make the most of an experience, this is going to be what you're going to want, because you're going to get both of those elements. And so yeah, I didn't know that about Remy. So that was really nice, and it was unexpected, but just such a wonderful thing because knowing that there's someone else there to help protect you as a parent so that you're not going, are my kids okay? Are they okay? My kids are fine, right? Because this is a long time. Like this is a 3 hour experience. Like, is this going to be, are we going to, it, no, I can enjoy when I'm here and I can live in this moment. And you better, because it's pricey. So that was really, really wonderful to know, and very comforting so that we can enjoy it. One of the things that I would ensure is just, if you're going to book on your, please use an agent. Please, if I can just say that, please use somebody. One, you're already paying for it, so you might as well get someone there as your backup. And they have a phone line that's dedicated to agents, and it's usually shorter than the one that's for standard guests.
You don't
Please
you don't have to
don't waste your time.
line on hold for 8 hours to get through.
No,
That's
sometimes it's like three and a half, but wouldn't it be nice if you had someone who did that for you? So that's one of my biggest things is, please, like, it's not just a plug. Like, I don't care if you use me or whoever you use, but please, like, use an agent because it's already built in, whether it's the parks or a cruise, it's built in, and it saves you time. You don't have to go finding the information. You don't have to go, yeah, just let them do that for
you've
you.
made me a convert.
Um, what's that?
You've made me a convert.
Uh, well, and it just, yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But one of the things that even myself as an agent had a problem with, and this is why sometimes having someone who can go back behind you, which I don't have, is helpful, is we initially booked to go see the Mayan ruins in Cozumel as one of our port adventures. And because port adventures are paid to a third party that's outside of Disney, even though they're definitely like checked out, because Disney's very particular about who they represent because it's a thing. Um, it's a third party, so once you've paid for something and it's finalized, you can't cancel it and you can't get your money. Well, you can not go, but you don't get your money back. So that was $150 for my husband and I both to do that. And I've been really looking to that experience. So it was one of the things that was a letdown, as someone who's been wanting to go for a while. And, but we ended up not being able to go because even though on one of the Disney websites, it's been since taken down, but on one of the Disney websites, it was saying that kids clubs were providing lunch, were providing meals for kids again. Unfortunately, that was inaccurate. So when we got on ship, we were telling one of the kids clubs like, "Hey, tomorrow we're going to be in Cozumel, blah, 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 blah." They were like, "Okay, just make sure you give them a really big breakfast before they come in." And we were like, "Wait, what?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna feed them or anything. That hasn't come back yet." And I think that's due to manpower. And they felt really badly, like they want to help people, but they don't have that ability yet. So that was a big letdown. But that's one of those, I think, rare things where there was no fixing that one. It wasn't improper planning. It was up on the website, and then due to the fact of it being inaccurate, it was pulled down. But it was just one of those things. So just make sure that if you're not going to use an agent, please double check. But have someone go back behind you, because if I could have someone go back behind me, it would be great. um, but what was it? Oh, I always heard how nice and friendly people, like not Disney cast members,
Right.
but other families on the ships, how nice everyone was. It's the truth. We made all kinds of friends, talked to all kinds of people to where, day 2, day 3, you're like, "Oh, hey, how are you? What are you guys been up to today?" And you're just like, "Oh, yeah, okay,
It's
that really does happen."
it really, it's strange. It is, I think, one of those things where you already have something in common with these people. You already like Disney. And
But
so
that
that
doesn't happen in the
whole,
parks.
yeah, it doesn't happen at the parks, but you're on this ship together and you already are kind of enthusiasts. So you already know that about the other person. So that it makes the entrance to getting to know them different.
Yeah.
And we've made some of some of the best friends that we've had on cruise ships. We've cruised with them again. We've traveled with them. I was in their daughter's bat mitzvah. I'm not Jewish,
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, why, I don't know that I've not experienced that on other cruise lines. And so
Yeah.
something, and it's not cultish. It's not like drinking the Kool-Aid and all of that. It's just people are friendly.
Yeah. Yeah, genuinely so. I think for a lot of people, you're just like, "I'm here to relax and have a good time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be bothered with I don't want to be bothered with negativity or anything like that." Now, you're still going to find a couple, but literally it was two people on the Disney Fantasy, which is a large ship. Um, so to only have two people that were kind of interesting, um, that's great.
And my experience was they're interesting throughout the entire time. They're fun to,
Yeah.
like, they're not just like rude ones. Like, they're rude. It's just their MO, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. There was a gentleman who's really upset because he purposely missed out on muster, which, as you know, is mandatory,
yeah.
and they will find you. They will find you and make you participate, regardless. And he was really pissed that he had to do it, and was like throwing a fit at guest services. And I was just like, "Are you serious?" But I thought maybe it was just that thing, but nope. He was, I don't know, a table or two away from us in our dining rotation every night, and he was always like. And I was like, okay. So some people are just going to be those people, and you just don't let them influence your trip.
Right.
Let's see. So I think so. The last thing I had written on here that was actually a reinforcement for both me personally and as an agent. The first time you take a Disney cruise, I would highly recommend that you don't plan on port adventures. And my argument for that is, unless you want a very busy cruise. Like if you want a very busy, active, like you want active all the time, running around, to each their own, by all means, go for it. There's so much to do on these ships already, and that's all included in your investment for this vacation. So if you just enjoy what's on the ship, do the ship activities, enjoy the pools, enjoy the dining experiences, and just be present with those things, I think you're going to be wonderfully satisfied. We ended up not being able to do the port adventure, as I'd mentioned, in Cozumel. And I don't really, I don't really count Castaway because you're already going to get off usually at Castaway. So
Yeah.
we added the glass bottom boat tour there. But I mean, when you're going to somewhere that is not for the cruise in that sense, like Castaway is, when you're in Cozumel or you're in St. Thomas or wherever it may be. Um, I think that there's some real perks to just staying on the ship. A lot of people get off the ship. A lot of people go explore things. So, the movie theater is not going to be as busy. The pools are not going to be as busy. The adult zones are not going to be as busy, and it gives you a chance to enjoy what's on the ship without racing around. There are extra things you can pay for on the ships, like tastings and kids experiences at Bibbidi Bobbidi or Pirate League, and so you can do those things. But it was one of the things that really was reinforced for me was that you should just enjoy the ship, and experience what it is. Take the opportunity to go lay back down in your room. Those beds are everything. Yeah, right. And just I say that because we didn't even get to do everything that there was. And we were on a 7-night cruise, so not a super short one, and we ended up not doing a port adventure. So it just like even then it was like, oh golly.
Yeah. No, we do that often when we've stayed on the ship. I think Zach rode the aqueduct like I don't know 14 times in a row, and he 30 times in that day. I mean, he just would get off and go back up and get off and go back
Yep.
up. He just laid there and watched them. And, we've done it where we've done the golf simulator, but I know that even when we did that 12 night, we didn't do everything. You don't get
Yeah.
to. And you do feel like you're racing if you're going to all these different cruises or all these different port adventures. Um,
Yeah.
oh, you have to get off the boat. Well, I don't have to get off the boat. There's gonna be plenty for me to do. If you want to get out and stretch your legs, go grab a 6-pack of beer, a couple bottles of wine. You want to do those things, refill your stuff. There's opportunities to do that, but unless you're going somewhere that you like, Alaska. Obviously, people go to Alaska and they want it for those port adventures.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like when you're in the, down in the Bahamas, there's not going to be too much that you have to go see.
A
Um,
lot of it's the same. A lot of it is some kind of a snorkeling thing or some
right.
kind of a beach thing. Me personally, I don't want to pay to go sit on a beach to play in the water when I could just stay on the ship
And play in the
and
water.
not. Right. I'm like, well, and they're not inexpensive. It was like
No.
$65, per adult, and I think it was like 40 or something like that per kid to go get off the ship at Grand Cayman or in Jamaica, and it was just like that seems like a waste of an investment.
No, and that's in the same way with us. You could go see the movies, and you can go to the movie theater, and you can go take your nap because because you need one. I take a nap every day on a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
It's I think that I agree with you wholeheartedly. How can our viewers find you? How can our viewers catch up with all the things that you're doing? I know you've got different avenues for different things.
So if you want to reach out and kind of follow along on adventures that we have, then that is going to be shared at the Motivational Pinup. That's both on YouTube and Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook at the same handle. That is really, it's motivational pinup because it's part of my style, but I really do want to inspire people and motivate people. I love to cheerlead people, whatever their thing is. I just want the best for people and hope the best for them. So I generally try to share positive content that is hopefully going to make you go, yeah, all right, in some kind of way, lift you up a little bit and make you feel a little bit better. Otherwise, I love theme parks. I love Disney. It's not anywhere on my body permanently. But I love theme parks in general, and I love Disney. So that's the bulk of what's going to be shared on those pages. If you want to see any of the information that I share when it comes specifically to traveling, whether it's tips or even like promotions that are going on, or even just get some kind of budget guidelines with different kinds of vacation experiences, you can find that at Vintage Concierge Explorers. That's both on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. It's all the same, Vintage Concierge Explorers. I know it's a mouthful, but it encapsulates what I'm trying to do with people.
It does. It encapsulates spirit. It encapsulates the experience that they're going to have and the adventures that you want them to have. So
That's the hope.
I think that is wonderful. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having
This
me.
wonderful day of doing this podcast. And so if any listeners have any questions, feel free to shoot us a note. Feel free to reach out directly to Stephanie. This is what we're here for, and we're just so thankful to have you on here. And I know that we've got other episode ideas coming up for both of you. So
For sure.
thank you so much. All
Thank
right, see you
you.
later. Bye.
Bye. Happy cruising.